Hello, everyone. My name's Hank Setala,
And I'm Brian Daniel Edwards.
and we're here with another fun Midnight Meanderings episode of Stir Crazy Shamans. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And there's a possibility that we might have an extra special guest coming if they end up showing up during the stream. We may have one of Brian's teachers in Hawaii on with us, but we'll find out. They're on Shaman time, so they might show up after we're done. Who knows?
Yeah, I sent them the link. Their phone seems to be off. I talked to him this afternoon, and he said he would, but he had to do some things. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but if not this time, it is the the fact of the matter is one of the kahunas that Brian's been training with has actually agreed to be on Midnight Meandering. So it's only a matter of time before we pin him down and get him on, and we're going to kind of give him a free rein to speak about whatever because we don't want to ask him things he doesn't want to talk about. But we'll just kind of let him lead the show once he shows up.
Yeah. I am not going to pressure him to say anything he doesn't want to. So I told him, hey, you can talk about whatever you want to, and you can talk about pretty much whatever you want to, because some of the things he says are really interesting.
Yeah, anybody who's a friend of yours, I'm sure, is an outstanding, interesting person. Just knowing you, like you wouldn't hang around with anybody that wasn't. But
Yeah.
great. But and it looks like we have a couple people joining us already. Mike is giving his typical. Actually, I think that's goats today. Usually gives us unicorns, and we got Angela giving us some pumas. I believe. I'm not sure. She's saying she's actually here on time tonight. Ironically, we weren't on time, but because we were on Shaman time a little bit. And Joseph's joining us as well, saying awesome about the potential special guest. So welcome everyone. And if you're tuning in for the first time, this is just kind of an open forum where we love to follow the energy of wherever the conversation will take us if you have a question or a topic you want to hear about. But other than that, almost daily, some weird, interesting thing happens to Brian, and it's always a good place to kind of start our conversation.
Okay, I guess that's my cue to start sharing.
Yeah.
This week has been very interesting, very busy, a great energy flow. I found... I didn't find it. I finally got a chance to go to the warm ponds. And
the warm ponds?
Yeah. So it's basically a geothermal tide pool. Have you ever been to the beach and, on the dry sand, dug down into the sand?
I have.
And
like, not in Hawaii, of course, but Florida, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the same idea. Grandpa Moses, so from what I understand, a person around my age, or I didn't meet them, so I'm not sure who it is exactly, but around my age, give or take, their great-grandfather Moses built the warm pond.
Okay.
So it's probably using a rift from a volcanic lava tube, because there's like a little cave at the end of it, and you can actually crawl into this cave. So it makes it a very great portal place.
And let me guess, you snorkeled and went into the cave.
Well, you got to crawl into the cave. But yeah,
okay.
I didn't go all the way into the cave. A very sharp lava rock, and when you're skinny dipping, sharp lava rock, crawling on that, not so great. Okay, so imagine this tropical paradise. I can't even begin to describe it. It's this, kind of like this. If you see the lava rock here, that's basically what it's made out of, a lot smoother in most areas. But it's like a swimming pool, give or take. And it's at this perfect temperature. It's like a hot tub, because of the volcanic heat. It's brackish water, so some rainwater does get in it, but it's also tidal. So as the tide goes up, the water level goes up, and as it goes out, the water level goes down. So this place is just magical. when we were there, we did kind of ceremony there. We had left offerings and burned incense, and had candles all around the pond underneath the full moon. So this is so imagine peeking through the palm trees and the other tropical trees, a full moon coming into this magical pond. Just incredible, just otherworldly. And there was one in the group that could actually see and talk to fairies, and they were talking to her. And another, I happened to see there's orbs all over the place, bright lights. You turn everywhere and you see all these bright lights surrounding you. So I'm not sure whether that was fairies, the ancestors, other spirits.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, could have been a little bit of everything. But at one point in time, I turned over and it looked about like 18-inch, 2-foot tall little person ran. Like I just saw a glimpse of it out of the corner of my eye, ran. So I would definitely have to say we were visited by a menehune, which is basically a Hawaiian elf or a Hawaiian leprechaun, some of the original inhabitants of Mu. Or
Out of
maybe,
curiosity, are there like the legends around that similar to other areas of the world? Or they, like when you mentioned leprechaun, is it anything close to that, or is it completely different mythology or whatnot?
uh, well, I mean, they're protectors of sacred sites, so that's very in line with the Eluxes or Duendes of Mexico. There is no pot of gold and rainbows associated with them. Well, okay, I can't necessarily say no rainbows associated with them, but here it's more that the rainbows are associated with the ancestors, like a rainbow bridge for them to come down on. So they say if you see rainbows, that's the ancestors coming down.
Right. And incidentally, in tradition that we practice from South America, Quichi, the rainbow, is the bridge of consciousness going from the lower world to the upper world. So there's also that same bridge that the ancestors come down on is also a symbol of us expanding into that consciousness, just as a fun aside.
Yeah. So at this worm pond, just amazing. I smoked tobacco, a very very strong ceremonial tobacco, and that kind of put me in this altered state. Now I had done it a few times before the tobacco. I did almost like an immersion tank. So I held my breath, did some breath work, almost like the Wim Hof breathing or holotropic breathing, where you get oversaturate your system with oxygen. Then I went under the water, went to the bottom, and just held a rock and kind of went out of body. The water temperature was so perfect, it was like a deprivation tank.
So it's like a float tank, kind of, except with salt water
Yeah,
too. So, wow.
yeah, exactly. So it felt like I was out of body and I could really kind of easily step almost into journey space. So it was just an amazing experience. I worked on some people from there and they had very profound experiences. They're going through a lot. And when I was under the water, I'm like, okay, well, let's take this opportunity while I have a little better connection to the other side, or a little bit more visible connection to the other side, and see what I can do. And they had profound healings.
And actually, a couple quick comments. Shauna was just checking in, saying she's going to bed, but wanted to show us some love. Other people just checking in, saying hello, and then they're on the stream. And then we actually had a question from Ace. They were asking, "Are you allowed to take guests there?" She's talking about, I believe, the tide pool, or what, or is it a total? Is it a secret? So this pool that you discovered, is it kind of a well-known thing, or is it more of a shaman secret?
It's a well known thing actually. It's in, I believe, a state park.
Right, but
Down,
with so many sacred sites, though, sometimes it might be a well-known thing, but not everybody necessarily knows how to tune into it or how to work with it.
yeah, a lot of people here have heard of it, but some people have never been to it. It's down in Pohiki, and it's a little bit of a hike to get there, but it's definitely worth checking out.
And you didn't take any pictures? You sent me
Oh,
like
I did.
50. You did. Oh well, well, yeah, probably not easy to send them to me
Weird.
now.
Let me see if I can send them, and if I send them to you now, can you they go through?
Yeah, if you send them to Messenger, I will be able to get them, and I can put a couple of the pictures up. Absolutely. I'm a he, Jason. I'm sorry. Well, Ace could go either way. I was, yeah. My apologies. They were correcting me. We will get a couple pictures of this tide pull up and see what we got here. And if anybody has any other questions regarding the tide pool or anything for that matter, go ahead and make a comment and we will speak to it in just a moment.
Let me see. So I actually heard back from my friend, so we'll see what happens.
So they may be joining us still. Maybe.
Might be. I sent them the link.
Oh boy, this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of trouble we can get in. I mean, information we can get. I'm kidding. I didn't get the pictures yet, though. Or didn't you send them?
I'm still looking for them.
Okay.
I gotta.
That's all right. It's all right. I can. We can always tackle that for the next episode or whatnot, and get the pictures posted later.
Yeah, I'm sending you some other cool pictures from. It's on my camera, so it's not that great. It was dark. But I sent you some pictures from the warm ponds and that sunset. So here, and okay, I can send you pictures from the newest beach in the world as well.
Newest beach. 17
Yeah.
pictures, really? 17 you're sending me?
Well, I'll let you sort through them, see what you like.
Okay, well, keep going while I go through this. All right.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, hopefully he hops on. So this beach, I believe, is where old hot ponds used to be. And these were huge hot ponds, and people absolutely loved them. And they're very sad when the lava rolled over them. However, it made this amazing giant black sand beach. I went there, and it was kind of a hike to get to, but it was really beautiful. And the lava ground down into kind of a fine, it was still a little bit pebbly, but it was still grinding down into a finer black sand, which feels really strange when you walk on it. It's very light and not quite like a coral sand, but it's very different. So I sent you those pictures as well.
All right. Well, I'm going to put the tide picture up first as soon as it loads here. This looks kind of just like a hole in a sense, right? Is that what I'm seeing here correctly?
Give or take, it's basically just a hole. It's like a hot tub.
So that's it?
That's it. And in the back corner is, there's like a log going over it, but kind of towards the back left-hand side of it is where the cave is.
All right. Are you planning to go back there with some better equipment to be able to go further into it, out of curiosity?
I don't know how, it doesn't look like it goes that far. It's kind of full. There's lava tubes everywhere on the island.
Yep.
I mean, like I'm sitting on top of some lava tubes right now. They're very small. And unfortunately, in residential areas, oftentimes the septic drains into the lava tubes. So you don't really want to go down into the lava tubes.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a healthy experience there. And then it looks like you sent me a picture of a tree as well. Is this really cool? Should I put it up now or is it later? You don't remember what picture you sent me?
From the, oh yeah, that was just some beautiful full moon pictures.
Okay.
After the hot pond the one night.
Okay, cool. Well, I will take that down then. I just was looking for whatever was relevant for the tide pool. But a lot of these are just, ooh, that is a pretty sunset or sunrise. Can't really tell.
Sunset. That was on the way to the hot ponds.
Yeah, I'll put that up just because it's pretty. Why not? And as I'm showing these things, I would like to emphasize that though Hawaii is, in fact, a tropical paradise, all nature landscapes are sacred, and you have just as sacred places potentially in your backyard if you're open to receiving the sacredness of it. And here is that sunset that you have sent me a picture of. Really pretty.
Yeah,
I like it. And fun fact, on Lake Erie, it's one of the few places where from the exact same point you can watch the sun both rise and set over water. Just a fun little fact about Lake Erie. If you not every place on the lake, but many different places that is possible.
I always took
That's
that for granted. I never thought about, I never thought about that we could see the sun rise and set
from the
from.
same spot. You
Well,
could watch it
yeah,
come up and track it the whole way. And there's not many places in the world where you could do that. Now, Hawaii, granted, you could, but you got to get in the car and run to the other side of the island.
no, from the right spot in Kohala, you can in the
Okay,
north island. It's the very northern tip.
well, then I
You
stand
can see
corrected.
east and west.
Cool. But if you're local to Cleveland, like that's just one little example of like all the little sacred spots. Or like in Vermilion in Ohio, we have this one park. I have a picture of Brian in it. I have a picture of me in it. There's this tree that grew in a way where you can actually get inside of it and stand up all the way. It's just amazing. Yep, I'm working on more of them, Angela. I am. She was asking for more pictures. They want more pictures of Hawaii. So next time, if I'm a little bit more prepared, Brian can send me pictures in advance, and I won't have to go fetch them while he's talking here.
Do you
Okay.
want me to send the last batch again?
What's that? Oh
Those,
no, no,
those are really good.
I can go back and get them. But go ahead and keep talking. I'll
Okay.
load up a couple more of these. And
So yeah, with the warm pond, the other interesting thing was it caused a detox. Like my whole body detoxed after that, and I felt very, yeah, it did a lot. Not only did I detox, and well, not TMI, but my urine was brown after it flushed me. It was so much, yeah, that was a very interesting thing. Uh, but after that, a lot of my inflammation in my body, in my back, and my injuries, my shoulders, my knees, things that had been hurting were almost pain free. So this is a very healing spot. And it
yeah.
just feels like a portal between worlds. The last time I took my bull roarer and was swinging that around to open the portal above the pond.
And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's from Australia. It's like the thing that you swing around rapidly, and it's like, woo. You probably can do a better impersonation of it than me, though.
That's pretty close.
Pretty close. He sent me one. Me and the kids are playing with it outside, and the next door neighbor kid was just looking at us, going, "What's that? What's that noise?" And it really grabs some attention,
It does.
especially if you open a portal. Uh, let's see.
Actually, funny story. I was on the top of Mount Wollumbin or Mount Warning doing Journey Quest. This was on my birthday. So I hiked up through the rainforest in the middle of the night to the top of the mountain. So I'm doing ceremony all night. And about maybe 3 a.m., I'm up there doing this, kind of just connecting with the ancestors there, and I'm spinning this. Then all of a sudden, I see a flashlight, and the guy flips out because you can't really, like when you're on the top of the mountain, you can't really hear anything until you come around to the top. And all of a sudden, he comes up into this crazy otherworldly sound, and he pretty much freaked out. And then we had a very interesting conversation, and that was kind of funny.
It just occurred to me I can do a screen share instead of downloading and uploading all these. So this is was this from today that you just sent them again, or was this before?
Uh, that that was the newest beach in the world that I was just
Oh,
talking
newest beach in the world that you were just talking about. A whole bunch of pictures from that. Ooh, that
about.
looks nice. I love that.
Yeah,
Okay.
really cool. On this side of the island, it's hard to have beaches that are sandy. Usually you have to climb over rocks to get to the beach. Now there is Kahena, which the waves will thrash you there, but it's a nude beach and it's really cool. It's like this little tropical cove. You have to like climb down the side of this cliff and go down into the water, and all kinds of interesting characters hang out there. And yeah, Sunday fun day. Like the whole community goes there and has ecstatic dance at the nude beach. So it's
So,
interesting.
are you saying new beach or nude beach, or is it both? It's a new
Uh,
nude beach.
no, Kahena's the nude beach. The one you're
Gotcha.
looking at is the new, as in
Got it.
just created beach, which
Okay.
I treated as a nude beach because nobody was there. So I
TMI
get
again.
nude beach.
That's fine.
There's something about being out in nature in your natural state. It's really freeing. It's really, and it has Well, I mean, a very interesting thing. Going to Australia, they have a much different view on nudity down there. In America, pretty much the only time you see someone nude is if you are in an intimate situation with them. So if you see someone naked, you're like, oh my goodness, like what's going on? Well, down there, it's like, oh well, we all have naked bodies. So it's kind of cool. There's families, believe it or not, that go to the nude beach with kids,
Yep.
and it's like going to the beach. Like nobody really cares or pays attention
Right.
that anybody's nude.
In Germany, it's very similar. Like, well, not everywhere, but there's a lot more less point of view around being exposed on a beach and stuff like that. And what was the other thing? Just a fun story. When I used to do loan processing for the bank, I did loans all over the country or whatnot. And one of my clients that I was sending a notary out to do a signing, they're like, "Well, you just got to warn the notary. This is a nudist colony." And so, like, I was sending this poor notary into like a whole naked palooza potentially, and Angela was asking a question about portals. She said, "What is a portal?" I was told that a portal. I was told that is a portal at my home by a tribal shaman, but I don't know what that is.
It's a door to the other side, or a door to really anywhere.
It could be a dimension, could be a plane, could be just another point in space time. And if you have one in your house, that's I mean, there's different ways that you can deal with that. There's clearings. I can message you. I have to look it up, but there is specific access consciousness clearings for portals. Brian might have another idea too about portals and how to work with them. Of course, they aren't necessarily a bad thing either. It's kind of like a crossroads. And one thing that I would tell some of my clients that have a portal in or around their house is like if you're at the mall, people that are walking around, you don't engage with everybody, right? So, like, you just walk on by, mind your own business. If you don't pay attention to certain beings and whatnot, then they don't pay any attention to you. So, if it is a portal and there's just traffic going in and out, it's not that it has to be bad. You can choose to pay attention and engage with it or not, and it doesn't have to influence you. Uh,
Uh,
any thoughts on portals?
yeah, portals are just doors. You can actually open them. Uh, I've been told sometimes I unintentionally open portals. I was speaking to someone who was watching me, so they could see what I was doing, and we were talking about different stories and back in time. And she said, well, "Why do you keep opening portals?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I didn't even realize that I was opening a portal and astral projecting through that portal and going back to view this event. So every time I tell a story, I typically open up a portal and go back to that time and relive that experience. So I've kind of had to learn how to deal with that and not do that as much. So it's like watching a movie instead of reliving it, especially traumatic events or things from the past. So it's not just keep bringing it up and reliving it, or just for me, just for fun, never tell anyone. On some of the traumatic stuff, you don't have to share that. You don't have to pass that heavy energy on, and I'm finding that out. So I just try to share the fun adventures now, and don't share any of the not so fun ones.
Yeah, we've had a few of those ourselves too. But it was fun to talk about once. But it's like, yeah, I don't want to let any energy to heavy stuff. But still, having those experiences might prove to be a benefit to somebody if it gives you some wisdom to pass on. And Angela was first. Anne was sharing. Well, first we'll do this one. Thank you for sharing the beautiful energy pictures. And then
Yep.
Anne was saying that Florida has some nudist communities and you can camp and live there. And then Anne was going on about the portal, then she says she keeps getting spirits here, and some are kind of naughty. And the other nice ones don't bother me, but the naughty ones are kind of naughty. So maybe if you have a portal and you don't necessarily want to close it, do you have any tips or tricks how to only allow beings that are going to be a contribution for someone versus like a free reign door? Anyone can come and go.
You could almost put up like a gate or a fence, and you can put selenite at the front of it, so only beings of light can pass through.
Kind of like a filter in a sense. Put a stone down.
Exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, selenite, apophyllite, and set the intention. Do like a crystal grid in front of it to only let things of light through.
Well,
You
for
can imagine spinning it clockwise and kind of like an iris closing up if you want to close it.
Yeah, and for the selenite and things too, if like say the portal's in the middle of the room and it would be inconvenient to just have stones like randomly placed there, you could grid the entire house. And one of the ideas about house gridding is you raise the vibration of the space so much that a naughty spirit, as you called it, couldn't cohabitate in the same space. So if you wanted to grid the house with some crystal quartz points, you could put an amethyst cluster in the ceiling, something else in the basement. You just grid the home to raise the vibration of everything, and then you may shift the kind of traffic that you're getting through the portal. So you could do
Yeah.
that too.
And it's not only the stones, it's intention. Those stones solidify the intention. So
Right.
you have to redo the grid once a day, maybe once a week. So you have to continue to reset your basically shield around your house.
Right.
Work.
Think of it like a physical representation of intention, even like that's really what it is. Or a petition. Just basically, you don't want to set it and forget it. It's not like the commercial with the slow cooker or whatever that thing is. You want to set your intention and then keep fueling that intention to keep that energy high.
You can also call upon guardians too to stand there and watch it. Whether it's archangels, whether it's ancestors, uh, who else? Lyrans, Andromedans, Arcturians, Palladians. Whoever works with you and can protect you, you can call them in to guard it.
Very good. Hopefully, Angela, that helps. Or if you have other questions around that, go ahead and comment and we can take a deeper dive into that if there's more information needed. And I will look up the clearing and I'll comment specifically about closing portals too. And she was just saying, "Well, I will do exactly this. Thank you guys so much. You're very welcome."
Yeah. Another interesting thing about portals, there's a lot of portals here in Hawaii. Down by the fresh lava flow, people routinely see ships coming in and out of a massive portal. So there are portals naturally occurring all around the planet. And some beings or people are clever enough to use them. So they actually will jump through that portal and use it to go to the other side, depending on where that is. So there's people that have actually gotten photographs of ships going in and out of the portals down actually towards Pohiki and Kahena. So that area down there, very powerful area.
There's also stories in a lot of native traditions around the campfire that the fire served as a portal and it was a way of traveling great distances. You would have like a sacred fire be able to travel through the flame and come out in a different village, for example, which is another way, another way portals could manifest. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you don't see. It could be something that you intentionally create just for a short period of time. And Mike is saying maybe Bigfoot is a portal being in and out. I actually had the thought the other day that it might be a physical manifestation of like a forest keeper or something like that when it needs to maintain the forest, so it's not always physically manifest. Just my
They
thought.
are. Bigfoot and the Yowies of Australia, they can teleport in and out. They can phase shift into here, so they can appear and then disappear just as quick as they appeared. That's why it's very hard to track them, very hard to get evidence. They only leave footprints or clues when they want you to find them, because they do walk between worlds. They can just appear and disappear and don't have to leave any evidence behind. There's the silver ones in Australia are supposedly very, very spiritually powerful, and they are a protector of the wood, of the bush out there. So yeah, that's very true.
Very cool. Sweet. Any other comments while we're kind of on this? Well, you can just continue going on. I don't know if you were done talking about the new beaches or tide
Yeah,
pool.
no, that's just a fun little thing.
You seem very more at peace this week than last week. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it just seems like you're not as not just more at peace or more centered. I don't know. Just my own observation, or maybe I changed. I don't know.
No, I am a little bit out of it. Martial arts took it out of me today, and well, actually, before this, I had to lay down. I just could not stay awake, and I went into journey space. I left my body, and I don't remember what, but I got a lot of information. Even last night, I was having very vivid visions during my sleep. So I wasn't even really sleeping. That's been happening more. So almost like a psychedelic journey. I just get to this point where I just feel so heavy, so tired. I just have to lay down and I go off into journey space.
See, that happens to me, but I don't get tired. I just get this like a particular tone, and I know, oh, I better lie down now, or else I'm gonna just collapse wherever I'm at because I'm about to go out. And so that's how it happens with me. I hate it when I'm driving because it's like I really need to stay focused, and I don't want to. I have to pull over or do something with that happens. Let's see. And Jason was saying, do you think Bigfoot and Sasquatch call Earth their home or the other side their home?
Uh, well, I know Earth is not my home. So I don't know how they feel. I can't answer how they personally feel. Um, and there's, home is where the heart is, and home is where you make it. Um, but I know this place isn't my home. I know I'm just visiting here, helping out. So I couldn't speak for you on or speak for the Yowies or Bigfoot on how they feel about this. Whether this was their home, I don't know where their place of origin is or where they lay their head down at night. They might actually just teleport in to protect the woods and go back home after their shift is done.
Isn't that an odd thought? Like that could be the light beings have their shifts of doing whatever they're doing, and then off they go home to whatever life they lead outside of protecting humankind.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm trying to petition for that. As much as Hawaii's a paradise, I'm like, hey, just let me commute here for work. I would be happy, Just if I can open a portal, go back home, come back here to work, teach, whatever, that would be nice.
Yeah, how much would the world change overnight if you could just teleport from one place to another instantly? Hmm.
We're getting there. It's going to happen very soon. With all these new things coming out, full disclosure, they have it. The government has it, and actually, they don't even use it that much. That's kind of the ultra top secret levels. Uh, so very few people actually have jump rooms, except for the ultra top secret special projects. But ships will take a 12-hour, 24-hour flight to the other side of the world and make it a few minutes, maybe an hour flight. Or even if they open up the tunnels underneath the mainland America. So if they open up some of those dumbs and tunnels, you could hop on a maglev train and it's supersonic. So you can go across the United States in a very short amount of time.
Actually, just a thought. There's a couple places, and I'm getting this from Access Consciousness, where they say that time bends or time doesn't quite work the same way. Like Rome is one of those places, and I really think Hawaii is one of those as well. Partially because before the influence of the English tongue or whatnot, there was no sense, if I understand the language correctly, there wasn't past or present. It was just now, and that may make Hawaii a natural spot where time bends or is very more malleable than others. And what great that would be, like a portal hotspot, because it's also being able to slip through other time spaces. Just a thought. I don't know if there's substance to that or not, but it seems to make sense to me.
Okay.
I just
There
squirreled.
are there are beings that can manipulate time. I don't know if I know time feels like it moves differently here. That's very true. Uh, I'm almost on time now, so maybe it does move different.
Well, you were actually with me the first time I bent time. It was at with Jay at the Ormus workshop.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
yeah.
With this story, my teacher Zane had just told a story about this lady coming like almost 8 hours late to a workshop and bending time, and then teaching the entire 8 hour workshop in like 30 minutes or something crazy like that. And I go over to Brian's house, and I'm running late, and I get there, and Gypsy J said that this process was going to take hours, but I need to be somewhere in like an hour and a half. I forget the exact time. And I thought, well, what the heck? I don't have anything to lose. I'll go ahead and I'll do this time bending technique that Zane talked about. And I just played with it. And going through everything. I have plenty of time left, and all of a sudden Jay's looking at these bottles, going, "I think we did something wrong. This is like hours and hours of settling. It shouldn't look like this till like way later." And then I remembered, oh yeah, I bent time, and I unbent it, and I was able to do the whole workshop and still leave and get to where I need to go on time. But that was just my first example of just recognizing that time is really this. It's more of a suggestion. It's not a hard fast rule. It's more of a measurement of time passed, and it's one of those things that you can bend and break if you are willing to play with it.
Yeah, that's very true. I've encountered that, and oh, I just had an example, but it left my head.
It will come back. Squirrel.
Yeah.
And let's see.
I can't remember.
Oh, and she was saying islands portal. Maybe she was just talking about Hawaii being a portal. I believe it though. Like Hawaii is just it just feels like one of these energy hotspots naturally, and plus all the geothermal energy that's going on there, and being surrounded by the water. There's just so much going on that just energetically, there's so much possibility with where it's at and all the earth energies that are occurring there. So I'm sure that it's a it's a hub of all kinds of international interdimensional travel.
Oh yeah, it's such a spiritually powerful place. I can't wait for you to come and visit. The travel's almost open again. I hear on the 15th or the 1st they're going to open up travel. I think on the 15th inter island travel opens up, and then on the 1st, I think you can come from off island.
We'll see. My wife was supposed to go to Germany with the kids, and their flight finally got canceled. So hopefully, they will get reopened though. Anne was asking or saying, I have heard several different people this week say that time is an illusion. Now you're basically saying it too. Time is a real thing in the duality. It has an intended purpose, and it's so we have a perception of linearity. But at the same time, there is the only the ever present moment of now, and you'll always find that the greatest truths are divine dichotomies, meaning that there's two things that appear to be opposite, but both are true. So time is an illusion. That's an absolute truth. There is no time. It's only now. But at the same time, in the duality, there is time. But as I said, it's something like in the Matrix. Some rules can be bent, others broken, and it's just a willingness to play with it and allow it to shift for you.
Yeah. So the perception of time is real. So some people experience time in one way, some people experience it in other ways. To that's kind of it would take a lot to wrap your mind around it, but when you step into journey space or even ceremonial space, you step outside of the same time space that everybody else is in. So when you do a session, it might seem like a few minutes, but it turns out that it was a few hours. Or when you do a journey, like when I worked with DMT, in 15 minutes to an hour, I experienced an eternity. I had experienced full lifetimes, many infinite number of lifetimes. So try and explain how that's possible, you just can't do that.
No, I remember my first journey experience that you helped me do. I came out of it and I asked you, like, what time is it? And you told me, and I said, time is an effing joke. and,
Yeah, I remember that.
and I was like, yeah, because it was like mind blowing of how much I experienced in just a small period of time. And Jason was saying, spirit is the same. Everything happens at once. Time doesn't exist in spirit. Angela was saying, yes, I've heard and felt this too about time being an illusion. And
It's like
lastly,
a computer program. It's all happening at the same time. It's just where in the program are you?
right.
So, yeah.
And then Luna was saying, imagine quantum physics, perception, molecular, all perception, which alters. And that's something like if you don't want to get into really heavy like quantum physics books and things, there's a real digestible book called What the Bleep Do We Know? And they do scientific experiments where they show that it is us perceiving something that shifts it and causes an effect. And if there is no observer, then things behave very differently. So just the fact that we're here and we have our filters and lenses and everything that we were taught about time, that in itself helps to create the illusion and all that good stuff. So Yeah, I love time talks. Oh my goodness. I always love the Star Trek episodes where there's like these time loops and paradoxes and you caused your own thing because you came from the future into the past and did something it's all wonderfully mind-bending stuff.
There was I was doing a session actually, and we're playing around with time wells. So we're doing like a liver flush and a liver healing. So we made a time well around the liver and set a specific time ratio for it. So within 15 minutes, we got like 3 months worth of healing on that liver.
Ooh, I
We,
love that idea.
yeah, and it was with another person who's intuitive and could feel it and experience it. So we were playing around with this, and then she did it to my head. This is in Australia. Then she did it to my head, put my brain in a time well, and like worked on detoxing it and fixing it. And I can't even describe it. I didn't necessarily think faster, but it felt like I had processed months upon months of thoughts, feelings, and emotions in that 15-minute time when she's working on my brain. Like you could really feel the time difference.
Oh, there was something I was just going to mention, and I think it just went poof. Come back, thought.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
feeling a little bit
oh,
scattered tonight.
Oh, it was with soul retrieval. Like in the tradition, the South American tradition, we say ompwe, ompwe, ompwe. One of the translations to that is heal what the soul's already healed. And the idea is that whatever you're working on for your client or for yourself, somewhere, ooh, that's getting loud. Somewhere in reality, you are not wounded, and the whole you is there, and you're tapping into the part of you that never was damaged or wounded in the first place, and allowing you to step back into that state of healing. And that's all out of the space time continuum, if you will. Let's see. And then Luna was saying, for an empath, it's a blast in conversation. Yeah, I love it. Yep, this is definitely a good place for empathic folk to come and just have a experience around awareness without judgment.
So I have to take a second. You can keep talking, but not to say I'm antsy or I have ants in the pants, but yeah, I got some fire ants crawling up my shorts. So I got to shake. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yep. I will let well, we'll wait for Brian to come back. But if you have a question or anything, this would be a great time to ask it while we have Brian taking care of his ant problem. But in terms of empaths, one thing too, since we kind of had the energy of empaths, is to always think of it as being but the hollow bone. An empath, they're aware of so many different things. They're like a broadband radio that's picking up AM, FM, ultraviolet, all this different information from all these different places. And where we get into traps as being empaths is when you are aware of an energy and then you start to judge what you're aware of. And as soon as you name it, you claim it. And that's one of the pitfalls of being an empath, is the distinction between sensing and feeling. And let me bring Brian back. He's back. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Enlightened chat, she was saying. Very cool. And what island are you on? I think Luna was asking, are you on Maui?
Not yet. I'm on the Big Island right by Hilo.
Okay, very cool.
Which
So
is south.
are you planning to go to another island soon?
I have a van and a van that I can drive and live in over there. So as soon as I haven't gone to Maui yet, I actually haven't gone to the other islands yet because of the idiot apocalypse. When you switch islands, they put you on house arrest for 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
And if you break it, you can actually get arrested. So they have this 2-week quarantine, and if you don't obey it, you get in huge trouble. So, trying to jump islands and find a place that I can stay for 2 weeks when, I don't even know, so yeah, it wasn't worth it. So I just stayed here. I've been learning from some very wise people, taking advantage of everything that has been gifted to me knowledge-wise, situationally. It's been an amazing time.
On a fun note on that too, the parking, you got a ticket while eating a banana in a parking loitering. I was just curious if your court date has come up yet. Has any shenanigans happened around that yet?
It's the 18th, and it was a coconut. I was opening a coconut,
Coconut.
in my car, the cops roll up like the goon squad. Multiple cars kind of just converge on the parking lot, and he's like, "I got a ticket for loitering." I'm like, "You had no idea how long I was here. I was here for 5 minutes opening a coconut. I had my towel right there. I was already in my swimsuit, which at that point in time you're allowed to go to the beach and go swimming, but you weren't allowed to loiter. So the whole thing is a joke. If you see, the way all these people are getting together for the protests and the riots, if it were really legitimate, if it were really real, we'd be like swamped with cases and overwhelmed, worse than we had ever had, but we aren't. Everything's opening up and the cases are still going down. So, yeah, you can draw whatever conclusions you want, and no, protesters aren't magically safe from the virus. So it was just a bunch of hype. A lot of the death toll, it's actually coming out that a lot of the death toll was contributed to it when it really shouldn't have been. People died of pneumonia, and just
Well,
because the
yeah,
virus, they
I
got chalked up as
I
a.
was on Fridays, I have a show that I do called Holistic Highlights with Dr. K, who's a functional medicine physician that works in affiliation with the center. And she was sharing with us how when she worked at the hospital, there was like basically these lists that you had to go through and you would just check these different boxes. And depending, like for coronavirus, if it was something affiliated with that, the hospital got paid a lot more money from the subsidies and things around the virus. So things were getting attributed to the virus that may not have really been the virus because it was a money point, a profit
Yeah,
point for
very lucrative.
hospitals. Potentially, allegedly. I'm not claiming that, of course, but you can do your own research if you like.
No, I've heard that from healthcare professionals as well. That's a very well-known fact that the COVID deaths they get more money for in COVID cases. So yeah, if you can just check a box and get more money, why not? And then that adds to the sensationalism of it, and it went over. So I'd love to know what the actual genuine numbers are, but you'll never hear that because it's so covered up, so buried, and the truth will never come out. But it's obvious that it was not a threat like we were told, because if it is, all these people gathering for protests all around the country and world would be spreading it. We'd
Well,
be.
we'll have to see that in 3 weeks because it's got a 3 week incubation period roughly. So, we'll
Yeah.
see. But only time will tell. And Jason was sharing that the Inter Island should be open on July 1st. So, for when you can move islands, I guess. In fact, actually, are your van is already on the other island, or do you actually have to move the van? Out of curiosity.
No, I have a Toyota Prius on this island, and someone gave me a van to use on Maui.
Just blows my mind. So for anybody out
How does it
there
get any better than that?
that are like, when it comes to abundance, Brian didn't have any point of view about how the universe is going to provide for him. But he gets to the island, someone gives him a Prius, somebody gives him a van now. On one of our first streams, we his computer kept crashing, and a listener actually sent him a computer so that we could do the streams more effectively. Look at all the abundance that's just showing up. So if you don't have a point of view about how it shows up, it makes the universe provide it to you a lot easier. Oh, let's see. This is a big comment. So Luna says, I am happy islands are doing well. It's wonderful to see spiritual folk on an island. Speaking of the people, magic spirit, kahuna beautiful, intense place to be cherished. Space all islands. Will you be visiting the spiritual lava baths on the shore, South Big Island? I experienced interbe historical energy there. My mentors and teachers on Maui mentioned this point as a portal, coincidentally.
I think I went to. I'm not quite sure which ones you're talking about, but I think that maybe down in Pohiki, that might be what you're talking about. If it's not Pohiki, let me know. I'd love to meet your connections on Maui when I head over to Maui. So if anyone has information that they'd like to share with me or anything, feel free. Or I'm once we're allowed to travel, I'm up for travel. So if when you put it out there, it happens. people don't know that you're open to something unless you put it out there. So I'm open to travel, doing healing around the world, teaching around the world. I'm sorry, my computer just went to go to sleep and I lost my page.
Well, we can still see you though.
Okay. Yeah, I got covered up. So, yeah, I'm definitely willing to travel, teach, do healing. That's actually my goal. Once I can accumulate enough resources, I want to put on events all around the world. So
Right.
that's the
Well,
goal.
I know the shaman with some streaming technology we might be able to leverage. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah. So we can start online. We can start classes. I have a few classes that are pretty well ready to teach. I'm learning more and more every day. So I was going to say some of my classes are probably obsolete, but no, when I go back and look at them, they still hold up. But I am getting more information to add to it, more goodies, and even more classes as I go.
All right,
My
I'm gonna.
technique has changed a lot.
Yeah. So first, Luna was saying yes, it is the place that you were mentioning, and then I'll put this one up next because Jason was saying that he's set to go to Maui in the middle of July to August 1st. You're welcome to stay for a bit. So definitely, you may want to connect with Jason there. Look at that, the universe is providing for Brian again.
Absolutely, I'd love to meet up.
All right, and Annie's shifting the topic a bit on us. She says, "This is a bit off topic, but I'm really trying to understand some things that are happening to me. I have dropped a hot potato on some old beliefs, and oops, someone made a comment and it jumped on me. I have started a meditation routine, and I get shaking. I get shaking of my entire body in meditation. Can you speak to that?"
Well, there's a lot of different possibilities of what it is. Sometimes when you tap into energy, it cause that energy flow through your body can cause you to do different things. Nervous flow. I work on a friend here, and she's a human lightning rod. When I start flowing energy, she like pops and twitches as soon as the energy starts going through her. Or even now, this is cool. When I start doing hypnosis or belief statement clearing with her, she will also, after we clear the statement, you'll see her body actually like twitch and release that. So that kind of is awesome validation to see that those clearing statements actually work. Um, then there is also that laughing energy. There's a lot of different possibilities. What are you tapping in when you're meditating to? In class with Zane, I saw this laughing energy. I think it comes from
Yeah,
Africa or
the Bushmen. Oh, don't get me
yeah.
started with those guys. I can't stop laughing. I'll be off camera dying on the floor.
So basically, you take this energy, which is like shaky and laughing, and you really build it up, and you transfer it to the person, and they'll get that energy. It like almost overwhelms the energy system in a good way.
Yeah, well, Brian had stopped in when Zane was teaching this class as part of a hoodoo workshop, and he was giving everybody an experience. But when he got to me, we started laughing so much that we're like falling off the chair, landing on the floor, and then Brian's like running over to help us because he was. I don't think he had the context of what was happening at first, and he thought we were in distress or something. But it was really
Yeah,
just amazing laughter.
I think it was just you, or like I can't remember, but I think you fell over. Maybe it was Zane. I
Oh,
can't remember who hit the ground first. I ran over to check.
oh yeah, I fell off the chair. I couldn't stay on the chair. I was laughing too hard, and down I went. But
Yeah, you took a pretty good fall with that one.
and then one
So
time, Brian's doing a healing on me, and the Bushmen come, and I'm just out of control, like laughing. And then Brian didn't know what to do. So, do you want to tell this part? How you stopped me? You found an off button.
oh, God nipple.
And so he just flicks me really hard right in the third eye, and it just turned it off, which was very useful because it actually has helped in a couple cases where that energy has started to come over me and I was kind of losing it. I'm just like, oh, Brian, give me an off button, boom, and I can regain control when I want to, or I could let myself go depending on the situation. And then one thing that comes to me to speak to with the meditation, as you're raising up your being, sometimes the body needs to come with the being, and sometimes the shaking could just be an incongruence or a misalignment. of the body and the being. And there's one energy flow process from Axis that is really helpful for that. It's called the thymus exercise, and you visualize 6 different energy flows, and it's always from source through the thymus back to source. So it would be starting with energy coming in the bottom of the feet from source, going through the thymus at the top of the head, from source through the thymus out the feet back to source, in the feet out the hands, in the hands out the feet, in the left foot out the right hand, in the right foot out the left hand. And you run all 6 of those simultaneously, just with the intention from source through the thymus back to source. And it just helps. They say the thymus is the seat of the soul, and it is the place where the body and the being are really kind of hinged. And if you can run that energy flow, you may find that you may not have the shaking when you do the meditation. So just a quick little energy flow for you that might be a contribution. Let's see, we got Angela was saying that those twitchings happen to her when she does Reiki sessions, happening all 3 times that she went. And I've had people, when I've done energy work, same as Brian, like they almost jump off the table, like they just have like this huge jolt, and it's like, woo. That could also be cellular memory releasing, like if you had something in cellular memory that's starting to go and the body's just responding and reacting to that. Yeah, she loves that meditation. Cool.
So funny. It's so funny what how the healing sessions go. You can see some really random things. You can see people just start crying from the beauty of it. They cross over, they see this amazing vision, and they come back and they're just crying these happy tears of joy and elation. And then sometimes you see some not so happy things, and some nasty entities coming screaming through the people, and it's just another day in the office. It's kind of funny.
Oh, there's lots of stories around that, but let's focus on whatever your attention, your energy flows where your attention goes. So focus on the good things. If you're a healer, if you only want to deal with the fluff and buff, you can certainly only invite that into your experience. But if you are a shaman, or you're going to walk that path of those types of modalities, you meet the person where they're at. There is no one off limits that you work with, so you do see the whole gamut. But in this tradition, you don't have, though in the duality there's right and wrong, you wouldn't look at it as an entity or anything else. There's not it's just a heavier light compared to where you're at. And in that space, you don't have to be afraid of working with any energy, entity, being, or whatever else. So, yeah. And
I think some people tell me, "Oh, you go out looking for these dark things. You're going out looking for the fight." Nah, the people come to me, and if they need help, I'll help them. And sometimes helping them means removing a nasty entity off of them. So it just happens. Although, admittedly, there are different paths of a healer. There's the healer. There's a warrior, a healer, and an oracle or a prophet, or basically the information side of things. So sometimes a person is only one of them. Sometimes the person's only information, and they're extremely gifted in sight and vision or hearing. They can get some amazing information. Sometimes you have someone who just does healing work. They get some information, but their thing is healing. And those two, you can sometimes have a very soft energy. You have very fairy-like or angelic, usually feminine healers that work in those areas, and they aren't really in a space to deal with dark things. And then you have that warrior path, either a physical warrior, a physical protector, someone that joined the armed forces to physically protect people. You have warrior spirit people that are to protect against darkness and curses, and it happens. Actually, funny story in martial arts class today.
I knew we would get one.
Keone got a spear in his back, so he starts going, "Oh, I have this really bad cramp in my back. Oh, wait, no, I'm with you guys. Okay, I can just say it. Someone threw a spear at me, and I have a spear in my back." So, right now there is a war ramping up. And sometimes if you get this weird pain, a weird ache, a weird burn in your body, sometimes it's some garbage being thrown at you. If you have done clearings, if you've done exorcisms, you'll know this. When I would do exorcisms, they stab you, they poke you, they bite you, they scratch you, and it can be very painful. You just kind of have to suck it up and go, "Nope, I'm sorry. Your pain isn't going to deter me from doing the right thing and helping these people." Uh, so that was an interesting clearing we did today, and after the class, it turned into a group healing session and worked on a few different people, and um, yeah, it's such a cool place as well, the Hawaiian Sanctuary.
Very cool. And actually, we're coming up on the hour mark. We're trying to go a little bit longer, but we're not going like indefinitely long today because it is late for me, or later, I should say. But if anybody has any questions you want us to touch on, or comments that you want us to address before we we call it a day, now would be a great time to post them so we can speak to them. We did get some dragons, I think, from Michael. Thank you for your contribution. Let's see.
One thing I did want to tap into, now is a great time to build abundance. If you have a trading account for the stock market was at the bottom and it's coming up. It's actually almost too late to get in right now because it's shooting up so rapidly. But even a base level call on an ETF like the S&P 500, so like SPY, or Triple Q, which is the, what is that, the Nasdaq?
You are going to lose people with that jargon talk. Well, for one, Brian is not a financial advisor or an investment professional, so don't take anything as advice. It's all informational in nature because that's a regulated field. So I'm just going to throw out the disclosure there.
Yeah, but now is a good time to buy up. Going up actually might be a little bit too late because it's been coming up already. But really focus on your abundance and not just looking at money. Let abundance flow to you in any way possible. Uh, do you have a craft or trade you can do? Are you a healer? Can you make things? So even if you don't have a job right now, what can you do in service to others to be able to bring yourself abundance? In Hawaii, abundance looks very, very different than elsewhere in the world. Oftentimes, we just trade and barter. So we'll barter and trade healing sessions. We'll barter and trade food, clothing, building supplies. It's such an amazing abundance. And it really gets you to reimagine, re-envision what abundance can look like.
Right.
So, yeah.
Something that goes tandem with that is the distinction between actualization and manifestation. Actualization is that it shows up, manifestation is how it shows up. And sometimes when we're telling the universe to bring us abundance, we put it into the box that we're only willing to receive it when it shows up this way. For example, a raise in your paycheck. If that's the only way that you can put to the universe to receive abundance, it may take a lot longer for the universe to actualize it for you because out of all the game spaces where you could have landed, you'll only receive it when you land on one spot on the board. So if you're saying, I'm willing to receive any abundance from the universe, it doesn't matter to me how it shows up, it really opens up the door to get cars given to you or laptops sent to you or all the different examples that Brian has been talking about in his travels. Things just kind of show up.
Yeah, they really do. And it's about trusting. So I've been, at times it's financially been a little bit tight here and there, but I never have gone without. Just as I need the money or I'm just approaching financial doom, I can't pay a bill, all of a sudden I'll get handed money. Or a job comes up. Yeah, it's actually less getting handed money, more handed an opportunity. So all of a sudden, I'll have a healing session come up, and they pay me very well for it, and I can then pay for that bill, or I get offered a job, or something happens, or I sell something, and I can then make the financial ends meet. just about, in the darkest hour, it seems to always happen. And I found out I am always taken care of. So I can go anywhere in the world with nothing.
He
But
literally
the,
has done this, people. Like this is
yeah,
not. It's speaking like hypothetical. He's done it. He
no,
left.
no, this is real. This is something I've come to learn and trust. So I like to have something set up, at least a connection. I like having a safety net, but I wanted to head to Maui. So all of a sudden I'm talking and, oh, hey, I have a van you can use. You can live in it and drive it. And wow, how does it get any better than that? And I knew, I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll just book a plane over to Maui, bring my camp gear with me, camp a few nights, or probably won't even have to, because usually I can find who I'm supposed to meet. On the north of the island, I was like, I was told I wanted, someone said, oh, when they found out what I was and what I did, they're like, you need to be here in Hawaii. And I'm like, okay, I'm open to that. Universe, please provide. Well, all of a sudden, I went to the end of the road, and I met an Ironman coach, my good friend Sydney. Amazing man, really redefined the way you think about aging and what's possible. At 60 years old, he is still running Ironman triathlons. He's an
That's awesome.
Ironman coach. He's doing marathons. There's no reason we have to slow down as we age. That's just, yeah. It doesn't have to happen. He's sharp as a tack. He can outrun me. His endurance is incredible. So it's just amazing. But I met him, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to stay in the Airbnb where I'm at? There's an extra bed there." I'm like, "Yes, please." And through that, I then got offered a job, and then I became a part of the community up in Hawaii. And then it was time to come back here, and I made all kinds of great connections. And it's been amazing. I can't wait to experience Maui and eventually Kauai. I'd like
So
to
cool.
eventually make it to Oahu. I hear there's a lot of Taoist temples there and like ancient Eastern wisdom in Oahu. So I'm excited about experiencing that.
Just a few
Just a few
comments.
comments.
Ooh, I'm hearing
Ooh,
my
I'm hearing
echo.
my echo.
That's
That's
interesting.
interesting.
Hold on. I'm just curious. I just muted you for a second while I bring these comments up, Brian, so I don't hear my echo. But we have Luna that was just talking about the economy, how you were talking about the bartering, that it's a Hawaiian attitude. Joseph was just thanking us for the abundant blessings. And Luna was also saying she basically did what you did and spent a decade on Maui that way, manifesting abundance. And then Angela, and then I'm going to unmute it. She was wondering, she was a wandering soul before she had children, and she misses them at times. And lastly, oh, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, so I won't even try. But that island you mentioned is magnificent.
Oahu, yeah.
Oahu. There we go. I wouldn't have said it correctly. And it sounds like the echo went away, so that's good. But I don't hear the birds anymore. Ironically, is that so weird or what?
And now the birds have gone away. There's koki frogs in the distance, but not necessarily the birds.
Okay, yeah, it felt like I muted the birds when I came back because the birds were totally gone. It's like, what did I do to them? I didn't mean to make them go away.
It takes a minute to pronounce the Hawaiian, but just kind of through osmosis, you get it, or you just absorb the Hawaiian and you start being able to pronounce the street names, and every letter is pronounced. So even if there's two O's next to each other, ho'okena, that you have this like space. So instead of hokena, it's ho'okena. So it's you have it takes a minute, just like the Aboriginal language in Australia, like all the towns and um, streets are named Aboriginal names, and their language almost bounces. Like Maroochydore, that was a hard one for me to pronounce. Malulaba. It looks like it's written Mululaba, but you have this bounce to it, Malulaba. So it
Oh man. Oh, she said wandering. I was wandering soul before. Okay. Well, we figure. I think we got the gist
Yeah.
energetically. And as a parent myself now, every stage of life has its nuances and its gems and everything. And though it's really fun to maybe think about the past, I would just encourage be in the now and what your relationship is with the now, and know that in the next round of reincarnation or whatever, you'll have kids again and cherish those moments again. But what's the saying? Cherish your yesterdays, dream your tomorrows, but live your today, I guess is the thing. So missing implies that it affects your state of being. So if there could be a shift in that, it might create a little bit more lightness around it. So just food for thought on that. Cool,
So
cool.
I feel like it's time to wander again very soon. So hopefully soon I'll head to Maui, and then maybe Kauai once the islands are open, if the abundance is provided for me to start exploring. Then from there, I don't know. I'd like to maybe head back, visit my friends in Australia. There's a lot of exploring I didn't get to do last time that I would like to do. Maybe head to Nepal. Nepal keeps popping up for me. There's a lot there.
I think we have a much bigger time zone difference for Nepal, don't we? Well,
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. It might be
yeah,
2 a.m. meanderings instead of midnight meanderings. We'll see.
yeah.
Now,
So we'll see. I'm, it's just kind of in the early stages. No doors have opened up yet. Well, to Maui, the door is starting to the handle turned, and I'm about ready to go through it. Just biding my time and doing everything here while I can do it here. Doing as many healings as I can, doing as many or as much learning as I can. So then, once the door opens, head over there, experience Maui. Uh,
now, do you have a virtual calendar set up for appointments and stuff, or is it just you just work locally, or do you not work virtually? I don't. I'm not sure
uh,
if you do or not.
People usually reach out to me on Facebook, and I do the sessions that way. But if you can help me with that, I'm not completely sure.
Yeah, I
There's
know you gave me access to the website to work on it, but I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. But I will definitely get that up and running. But just putting it out there, if anybody's interested in a session with Brian, if you his Facebook page is Infinite Love, and you can reach out to him that way if you were looking to do that. And for myself, my website is hanksetala.com, and I see people virtually too. Or if you're in Cleveland, I see people locally. So we have that. And let's see.
probably the easiest way to get a hold of me right now is Brian Daniel Edwards.
Oh, not the page? Cool. Well, so just look him up on Facebook. He friends everybody, right? Luna was saying, you'll love Maui. So many different groups. Don't forget Bali and New Zealand on the way to Australia. Now, he's already been to Australia, but you never got to go to New Zealand while you were in the neighborhood, did you?
No, I didn't. I was planning on it. I had a visa that expired every 3 months. Well, it didn't expire, but you had to leave the country and come back in it. And I was going to go to New Zealand, go to Fiji, go to Bali, go to all the destination Vanuatu, all the destinations surrounding Australia. But I upgraded my visa and just stayed a year then.
Yeah,
The
so
financial
gives
situation
you a
kind
good
of.
reason to go back. And New Zealand is definitely on my bucket list. So maybe that could be a co adventure at some point. Maybe.
Yeah, my one friend Jana. I think you met Jana, didn't you?
Yeah, I met her virtually. We had a one time when I was doing some intense meditation work. I think we had a call towards the end of that when I was really in a good headspace for bringing information through.
Yeah, she was the one who is very gifted, being able to see the other side, and she did the paranormal encrypted research. So we're out in the bush finding all these cryptids and yowies and uh, thylacines and thylacoleos. Really cool experiences. She has her family is all scattered throughout Southeast Pacific, or no, I should the South Pacific, not Southeast. So I'm thinking Southeast Asia, but no, the South Pacific. So she has connections on New Zealand. I think she's actually from New Zealand. So she's a Kiwi, not an Aussie. Uh, technically, I think, but she's been in Australia for a long time. Then she has connections on Fiji and actually up here in Hawaii.
I think it was, I don't know if it was on your page or just on your personal profile, but you had a couple videos where you were doing like some late night, like out in the, just like a little late night adventures looking for different paranormal things, if I remember right.
Oh
I
yeah,
think,
we did do shared videos with her. Yeah, I forgot
yeah.
about.
Yeah, I know I saw like a couple that were really interesting, like being out, and you were almost acting, I think, like the medium of the group with your awarenesses and things. It was pretty cool to see you in that space.
Yeah, I was kind of tracking in a different way. It was really cool seeing what I could feel, seeing what I could experience. Uh, it gave a whole so much of what I learned in a less aware state, like the actual physical bushman skills, the actual physical Marine Corps warrior skills, I learned back then, and now I went through my spiritual path, and I kind of woke up a lot of my awareness, and now I'm merging the two. I'm kind of reawakening the warrior, the bushman, and combining those abilities to be able to do things that I could have never imagined before. But then again, my bushman skills always got me through. I was always one of the wood, and I grew up in the woods. As little kids, we were running around the woods and would spend all day out there, go deep into the woods, and we never get lost and always made it home. So it was a good thing.
Just never on time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cool. And what I'll do for our next one, I will go to your YouTube and I will find some of the things from Australia and your adventures, all the ones that I can, and I'll put them as a playlist on our YouTube channel. That way, people we can direct them to one place and they can kind of go back and see, the trailblazing of your adventures and catch themselves up with the crazy life of Brian.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty well documented. It's up in video. I on my Facebook page on Infinite Love Ministries uh, Facebook page. I was trying to figure out how to merge the Infinite Love page with the Infinite Love Ministries page, and just
You
have
gotta name them the same. Well, we could talk shop, but
yeah.
you have to have the same name, and then you have the ability to merge it. But the names have to match first, so you have to change the name of one or the other, and then you can merge them.
Oh, okay.
Yep, but I can help you with that off the topic. But anyway, I think we are at a good wrapping up point. I want to thank everybody because we pretty much had a pretty consistent group of people watching us for the whole time. So I really want to thank you all for being here and for all the amazing comments. And that's what's really fun about this is when we have the interaction, we have the comments and the questions. Just it's really amazing to see how the conversation can unfold. So thank you to everyone. Any
Yeah.
final thank you thought, Brian?
I would love to hear more about Maui. So, with your decade of experience on Maui, I'd love to hear about that, Luna. So, if you get a hold of me and tell me all your favorite places, I'd love to go and explore them. Yeah, I'm always open. I always ask the locals and people with experience where to go. I don't look at the tourist brochures because the commercialized destinations are not the same as getting in with the locals, getting in with the natives, getting in with the indigenous people of the land. You get a whole different story. You know, it, you'd be going to the resort beach, which is purely manufactured. They actually shipped in sand, and it's nothing to do with Hawaii, basically. It's just a tropical place in the ocean that they made this beach. Whereas when you go with the locals or the natives to some of these cool places, you get to experience the real Hawaii.
Awesome. And the people just chatting back to us to thank you guys. Another great show. They really appreciate, enjoy our times. You guys seem like really good people. Thank you very much. And Luna also just thanking us sincerely and saying, be well, blessings, and she will reach out and connect with you. And also saying many locals to connect north, south, central. So
Oh,
great.
great. Excellent.
Awesome. Well, and on that note, again, thank you, everyone, and we will catch you next week, if not possibly sooner. We were talking about doing more than one a week, so maybe this will be the week that starts. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like
But
that too. I'd like to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the best way to know if that's going to happen is to head over to the YouTube channel, click subscribe, not only for Stir Crazy Shamans, but if we do another one, we're planning to stream it to the Infinite Love YouTube channel. So we'll still stream it to the Facebook page, but the YouTube channel would be on Brian's YouTube. So you definitely want to subscribe to that one. It's just if you Google Infinite Love, you will find it, and you'll see the little. It's like a rainbow figure eight infinity symbol for his logo. So you can find it pretty easily. Cool. All right,
Um,
guys. Oh, go
okay,
ahead.
really quick. Is anyone watching and having heart pain? Because I'm feeling some heart pain or pain in my chest. Pop up any comments if that's you.
There's about a 30 to 45-second delay, so we'll have to wait a bit and see if anybody says that.
Okay, yeah, I was feeling someone's got either anxiety or something going on in their chest.
Or you know what we could do? Just like last week, how we ended quite literally on a good note.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We can do an energy share.
Yep. Getting my bowl out. It's the only bowl I keep at home. All the rest are at the office. So I will provide the tone, and if you want to lead through a little exercise, we can do that.
Okay. Um, how do we do this? Okay, imagine yourself like a tree and send roots. Actually, I'll just do a meditation right now. So I'd like you to just kind of relax, take a few deep breaths in through your nose, deep down into your abdomen, and release it back out your mouth. Breathe in peace, love, tranquility. Exhale any anxiety, anything heavy, anything bothering you. Just release it back to the earth. Imagine roots coming out of your feet, going deep down into the earth, through the soil, through the rocks, going down, wrapping around the warm red center of the earth, and start to drink up that warm red earth energy, the heart of Mother Earth, the love energy, the feminine love energy. Start drinking that up your roots, pulling it up through the bottoms of your feet, up your legs, past your hips. Start pulling it up your spine. Feel it coming up past your chest and up your shoulders, past your neck. Feel it coming up and out the top of your head. And imagine growing branches spanning out the cosmos from infinity to infinity and beyond. Imagine unfurling leaves off of those branches, drinking in that cool, crisp, cosmic light energy. Refreshing. Start to drink it in through the leaves, down through the branches, down through the crown of the head. Feel it cascading over you like a waterfall. Imagine any heavy energy getting washed away with this, down over the top of your head, over your face, feeling any heavy thoughts wash off, down over your throat, cleansing off any heaviness there. Now over your shoulders, washing away any energetic burdens you've been carrying. Over your chest, washing away any heaviness, any heavy emotions, any sadness, any anger. Feel that light energy cleansing it off. Focusing on anywhere you feel heavy, anywhere burning, anywhere hot, anywhere you have pain, using that light energy, focusing that on it. And push it down your abdomen, down your back, past your hips, down your legs, and out the bottoms of your feet. Continue to collect up that love energy from the earth. Find it in your heart with the light energy coming down from the cosmos. Find them in your heart and let it flow through you. This is actually very basic healing that you can do. This is something you can do every morning and every night. This is very versatile in a lot of ways. So once you draw that energy in, you can let it flow out your hands to then share that energy for healing purposes. You can, if you're in a crowd and you're feeling too many emotions, too much energy, you can imagine pushing all that energy down back to the earth so it can be recycled and transmuted. Uh, so it's very versatile. I highly suggest starting a practice of doing that.
And as often as you can throughout the day, as you continue to do that exercise, more and more life will start happening through you instead of to you. And when you're in that space, that's when all the magic happens because you've taken ownership over your experience and are really just being the director of the symphony of all the instruments of the cosmos. So, be the conductor of your own life and really, you know, start letting it flow. Cool.
Okay, I guess we can do a clearing statement as well. So all you have to do for this clearing to work for you is say yes when I ask, and I will say a statement that will trigger the subconscious mind to release interchanges. So, will you become the master and control your own destiny?
Yes.
Absolute resolution from infinity to infinity and beyond.
Yeah. And Angela was just saying, wow, I'm super calm now. Thank you guys. And since we did do that healing note, I'll end with a cool little pink flower outro that we have and just watch the beauty. I love this little outro. It's such a beautiful little thing of flowers blooming. And just as these flowers are blooming, just think of yourself. In shamanism, we have this whole flowering ceremony where you take your refined self, your refined energies, and you offer them to the upper world. You're flowering your nectar. Basically out of the crown to draw the royal hummingbird, which is the connection to Witacocha. So while we play this outro, just really allow yourself to open up and allow that hummingbird to come and connect you to Witacocha, where you can start creating hand in hand with the spirit of the universe. And with that, good night, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Aloha!